Sup Nerdmigos, I'm the Jive Talking Nerd John Norgrove, and this is Nerd Jive. So we've got an interesting set of news today. It's a lot of small stories that are all interrelated. So first up, the good, the bad, and the DC, because it's pretty all over the goddamn place right now. Wife and I went and saw Justice League with the boys from the Geek Mosh Pit. So check out the Geek Mosh Pit podcast. I'll have that shit linked below. I should also have it linked in our review of Justice League. If you're interested in seeing that, that should be the previous video that I uploaded. So check that stuff out. But we're not talking about the quality of the movie today. We're talking about the profits of the movie. So Justice League has officially the worst opening in DCEU history, with an opening weekend of $96 million. Now, it had been hoped to bring in between $110 and $130 million, which would have shown faith in Warner Brothers DCEU. It's essentially like they were really hoping Justice League was kind of going to be like the key to the kingdom, and it sort of wasn't from a financial standpoint. For comparison's sakes, Wonder Woman pulled in $103 million, even though that movie cost a fraction of as much as Justice League did. Bats and Soups pulled in $166 million, and that movie is a flaming piece of shit. And Suicide Squad pulled in $133 million, and it was technically better than BVS, but still not nearly as good as Justice League. So it wasn't a great opener for it. That being said, it's not a terrible movie. It's actually a pretty alright movie, and it's more than worth you guys watching. Check out our reviews if you have more interesting stuff. The Geek Mosh Pit review, where it was the Geek Mosh Pit boys and us, and a friend, that's full spoiler town if you've already seen it, but if you've not seen it, check out my wife and I's review, Nerdjive's review of I keep wanting to say JLA, Justice League. That's totally spoiler free, so you can watch that before you see the movie. But it's estimated that the movie cost around $300 million or a little bit more to produce, especially after all the reshoots and the edits and all this kind of crap. And to pull in an opening weekend of $96 million is kind of a joke. So that's the bad for the DC franchise, as it were. Alright, so the weird, as it were, is so on the late night show with Stephen Colbert, Ben Affleck admitted to swiping some bat props, Batarang and some other stuff from set. Well, apparently the props department had been hitting him up, calling him about these missing items, and he's just like, I can't find them, I don't know what you're talking. Like, I keep looking, I don't know where they are, even though, like, he clearly just was like, alright, if I play Batman, I should get, like, a Batarang out of the bloody mix. And Warner Brothers finally sent him a bill for the missing props. Now, his sort of response to this is, it's no longer a stolen prop because I paid for it, so now it's just my prop from the movie. But this treats to like a larger thing, and this is mostly like one of those think about Warner Brothers, sort of like, you know, rainbows. But that's fucking bullshit of Warner Brothers, right? I get it that DCEU is a huge failure and it's hemorrhaging money and it's a waste of time and space and nobody really likes it and they keep hiring these actors and they're kind of blowing dicks on it. But if the guy who plays Batman wants a fucking Batarang, don't charge him for it, because then it's gonna come out on the TV that you did that. And people are going to be like, oh, Warner Brothers is fucking bullshit. Made of dicks, these guys. So, like, I heard that, or, I'll have the YouTube video to his interview with Colbert, and it's about a bunch of stuff, but that's at the end of it. But it's like super cunty for DC to do that, you know? Like, I listened to it today and was just like, alright, these guys are assholes. Like, fuck them. Right? That's kind of super bullshit. But whatever. You know, that's DC for you and that's Warner Brothers for you. They seem very like, they think they know what we want, but they don't know what we want because words are confusing to them. I don't know. Because the DCEU just does not understand. So the good, though, for DC is that Iris West and Barry Allen are getting married in the CW's Arrowverse, the greater superhero television universe for DC Comics. And the whole Arrowverse is going to attend. It's a 2-part crossover. It looks absolutely amazing. So heroes from Supergirl, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow, and Flash are all going to be present for their wedding. And as a twist, you know, because just like a regular wedding, not being interrupted by weird shit doesn't happen in comic books, supervillains from Earth X will rudely interrupt the ceremony. For this 2-part crossover event. So Earth X is a world where Nazis won World War II, so it's Nazi Earth. I feel like they had the opportunity to call it Earth N or like Earth Z, but whatever. It's called Earth X. It's the Nazi Earth. So anyway, we get to experience that, which is exciting. I like The Flash, but it's a little pedantic. I like Legends of Tomorrow, but there's like a lot of people, and I don't really watch standard television. Arrow's okay. It's hit and miss. I don't care about the flashback stuff. Like, oh, I get it. You're on an island and things are sad. I don't fucking care about any of that. Supergirl's good, but she's very like, I don't know that I can do it, even though I'm a superhumanly strength person. And then they're just like, you can totally do it, girl power. And she's just like, oh, wait a minute, I totally can. That's right, girl power. And it's like, Supergirl's easily the most powerful superhero in the CW DC universe. But she, like, doubts herself too much, which I'm kind of not into. But it's still a great show, so if you haven't seen it, like, totally watch it. But, yeah, so they're calling the event Crisis on Earth X. But, so that's airing November 27th and 28th, which I believe is, like, a Monday-Tuesday thing. So the first, don't quote me on this, but I think the first one's on the 27th in the Supergirl episode, and the second one's on the 28th on, like, the Flash episode or something. Either way, check it out. The DC's television universe is amazing. So just go watch that. It's good. So that's the DC. Fuck those guys. Next up is rocket retirement news, which is like kind of badass. All right, so NASA just launched the Joint Polar Satellite System 1, which is the JPSS-1, on a ULA Delta II rocket. So the first series of NOAA or NOAA satellites, that's the... well, I don't have it written down, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's the people who monitor weather in the oceans and Antarctica and shit like that. I don't remember what they're called. If you know, let me know below. But I don't want to look it up right now. Anyways, it's a NOAA satellite to improve accuracy on weather forecasts. They think they're going to be able to get it up to like a full week of like super accurate stuff. They're going to launch 2 satellites because they're polar satellites, one north, one south. That's how poles work. So the first one's already been launched on these Delta IIs. So this launch came sort of with like sad but very understandable news about the retirement of the Delta II rocket. So next year is the second NOAA launch, which is the second of it's JPSS-2, which is the second of the NOAA's weather satellites to be launched, and that launch in 2018 will be the last and 100th successful Delta II launch. Knock on wood. It's gonna work out. The Delta II is tried and true. But so that is the last launch of the Delta II rocket platform, which was originally developed and originally launched in 1989, which is 29 years of just workhorse rocketry with NASA. The Delta II gets its job done, man. The JPSS-1 was its 99th successful continuous launch. That's 99 successful launches in a row since 1989, which is a huge deal, right? The Delta II gets its job done. However, the ULA is putting this rocket aside because it's only a medium lift rocket, so it exists in a place where we no longer sort of need those lift capacities, right? You have your lighter lift rockets, which is like your Falcon 9. Then you have your heavy lift rockets, which is like your Falcon 9 Heavy. To use examples that I've spoken about before and that are a little bit easier for people to understand. Well, the Delta II is sort of in between those two, and it's not necessarily needed, right? Most shit can be launched on a standard low lift rocket like a Falcon 9, and if we need big boy stuff, then we can bust out big boy rockets. But it's very expensive, and it costs a lot of money for all the supply lines and to get everything done, and ULA's having to compete in a hyper-competitive market right now when it comes to private industry space ventures. And so it's not the best move for ULA to continue running the Delta II rocket when it lacks efficiency and finesse and some of the other things that like modern rocketry is asking for. So it's sad news, but 29 years and 100 successful missions next year is more than accomplishable and successful send-off for the Delta II. So you know what? Good luck, ULA. Good luck, NOAA and NASA, with your guys' launch in 2018 for the NOAA, or for the JPSS-2 for NOAA and NASA. And I hope that the Delta II gets relegated to museums so we can all go see them and touch them and have fun with them. And ULA uses this opportunity to improve its systems and bring competition to the private industry space market. The more people we have in the game, the faster the game moves, the harder the game is, and the more success we have as individuals and citizens when it comes to the space race. So it's sad, but I'm glad to hear it's going. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of a balance. The last thing I wanted to talk about is, it's happy news. Chappelle's back, but not the Chappelle show, which I would be crying, because I love the Chappelle show. But so Netflix tweeted out this short teaser for the next Dave Chappelle stand-up special. It's scheduled to come out December 31st of this year, and it's called Dave Chappelle's Equanimity. The teaser looks absolutely hilarious. It includes 11 from Stranger Things, and if his previous 2 Netflix specials are any indication, his third one is going to be just solid gold, absolute money. So I'm 100% looking forward to that. Netflix has been for some time now improving its stand-up selection, and I really believe that the next Netflix specials are sort of like the key to success when it comes to stand-up, because they're there, they hit, they get a lot of that kind of screen time thing. I have cable and you know, watch stuff on YouTube and all that, but the Netflix comedy specials, that's like my go-to. I'm doing some work in the house, or I'm building a thing, or whatever, and it's like, fuck it, I can't pay attention to what's happening on screen, I can't watch a foreign show because I don't speak the language, or I only understand like a fractional amount of it. So I'm just going to listen to some stand-up comedy, have a good time while I'm building a table or shelf or reorganizing a room or vacuuming or whatever. So Netflix has really killed it with these specials, and Dave Chappelle's specials, the last 2, were absolutely fantastic if you have not seen them. And I look forward to Equanimity. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. But either way, I know it's been... Nerd Jive's been weird, so I'm you know, fucking whatever, getting back into it. Fuck you guys. But either way, like this video, comment below, let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought about Justice League. Let me know if you watch any of the CW's DC shows. How do you feel about Batffleck jacking some props? You know, maybe it seems fair that they charged him for it, and, you know, because he makes so much money or fucking whatever. Like, let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about the Delta II being retired, about ULA and NASA and NOAA, and let me know what you think about the Chappelle, let me know what you think about the Chappelle show and his stand-up specials. But, yeah, either way, like this video, comment below about the stuff that I talked to you about, subscribe to this channel, share this channel on all your social media. All my social media is linked below, so like, pimp that shit out. Let's get some more motherfuckers in here, more Nerdmigos. And either way, I've been John Norgrove, this has been Nerd Jive, and I'll see you guys later.